Alright, after watching the two videos that you made over language and how it works in today's day and age, my four main points would be how language is symbolic, first off. So language has a lot of different meanings, and it's symbolic in a lot of different ways. For example, a car could be called something totally different. It could be called a carrot, for all we know. But people gave it the title of car, and now that's what we know. And like you said, an orange is called an orange, obviously, because it's that color, but he also explained how, we don't really know how the color orange got that name. We really just give titles to certain things, and that's kind of just how it works. You talked about how there's symbols that are worldwide, such as McDonald's, that everybody recognizes, and then there's things that are nationwide that maybe not everybody in the world would notice. For example, like the Canadian currency. I don't think I would be able to distinguish certain Canadian currencies, but obviously Canadians would, and people in Northern America probably would as well. And then you talked about statewide symbols. I'm not from where you were from. You talked about Myers, so I had no idea even what that was. Didn't know that was even a store. But you talked about how that is one of the places that you grew up always going to. And then when you came down here, Buc-ee's is kind of like the Texas staple, but you had no idea what that was before you came here. So language is very symbolic. There's symbols give them meaning, and that's how we distinguish certain things. My second point would be how language is very complex. So kind of like I said about cars could be called carrots, for all we know. But there's different rules to the way language is created. So there's semantic rules, which is like going to the restroom and you see the guy figure and then the lady figure, but we know that they're different because the lady one has a dress on and the guy one doesn't. But if you go to somewhere foreign, they may have different distinguishing, symbols between those. So it can be complex. You talked about the equivocation of language, which means, there's different meanings to different words. I could swing a bat, or I could be attacked by a bat. There is relative language as well, which means, people see words in different ways. Or people see symbols in different ways. So the girl on the test who got a B+, she saw that as bad because her parents would be disappointed. But the guy who got the D+, was excited about that symbol because that meant he was passing the class. So symbols have a lot of different meaning. They're complex. My next point would be that language is very complicated. It can lead to misunderstandings. So with certain things, how you were raised, I guess up north, and you called soda or Coke pop, it can lead to misunderstanding. If I go to a restaurant and the lady asks which Coke I want, but they don't even serve Coke. So it's very confusing. There's a lot of different meanings to it. So you have to, I guess, I don't really know, but with language, it can lead to a lot of misunderstandings. So you have to be careful with that. Especially, I learned this one on my own. This was in France. If you hold up this symbol, it's not a very good thing. I think a lot of people when they're trying to talk in a French way, they're like oui, baguettes. But this does not mean anything good in France, from what I've heard. Apparently, it's asshole, which is not a great thing to go around waving if you were ever there. And my last point would be that language reflects power and attitude. So if I decide to curse, which I never do, I just did for explaining that, but that was, for this video, I think people would be a little bit surprised. That would give a lot of power and a lot of attitude to my statement. That would create a different tone because it's something I never do. And with language being powerful, you talked about how the girl was going to call you on the phone at nighttime, but then you told your buddies that, I didn't even like her anyways. Language spreads. It's super powerful, can move quickly, and that didn't end very well for you. But yeah, that's all I have.